I'm Christian, and I'm here with.
Clayton.
And Carver.
Today, we will be talking about school struggles.
Now,
So,
what we necessarily mean is we got some feedback from people that we go to school with. Not gonna name any names. We're gonna keep it confidential. And we just put out a survey for people to answer, and we got some input, and we're going to talk about it.
okay, so first one, do you start with the first question?
Yes.
Alright, the question was, do you like doing online? Looks like 61% went with 50-50. 16 went with no, and 22% went with yes.
I kind of am part of the 60% that thinks like half and half. Because like yes, there are parts that that really I do like about it. But then at the same time it just simply can't replace being at school learning in person.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, we've had this conversation multiple times. So, I'm
how
not.
I see it, me personally, I see it as yes, I do like it, but um, and looking at that from we've had this discussion on previous videos, so check those out if
Yeah.
you want to hear more of our thoughts on it. But me personally, I'm on the yes side. I can see why a lot of people would go 50-50, and I can see why a lot of people would go with no. Um, and then, like I said, if you want to see my reasonings for yes, just go in the previous video.
This is also us not talking about the virus at all. If you want that, check out one of our other videos.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, check out the previous ones. Wait, what are your guys' thoughts on it? Clayton?
I'm 50-50. I like it, but like Carver said, it's, it doesn't replace being in school, like being by your friends and being able to like talk to the teacher right then and there, than having to set up like a WebEx call or whatever during a seminar or something, and having to like wait for them to be available after them teaching and everything, as well as doing like sports and everything. Where because for me, with doing RTC, we have to go in the mornings and then like go home from the school to our house to get logged on to be able to start online. And so I like doing it online. I like doing work online. It's just it's too much of a hassle, I guess. I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and then I'll go a little bit more in depth about it later, but testing online is not perfect. It really isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are some bugs with it. Although, honestly, testing in general could use some work. But that's a topic for another day.
Yeah.
Um,
So we're gonna go on to our next question, which was, what is the hardest part of doing online?
I find this part pretty interesting that because
Fifty-five
no one
percent
can't
said
use.
being on the computer all day. 11% said getting up for school, and 33% said time management. I can easily see kind of how each of these are very obvious reasons why it can be hard to do online.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Personally, I know for me, at least for the first couple of weeks, it was hard getting adjusted to getting up early after like the super long summer. So I can definitely see that side of it. I'm actually really surprised no one chose. Yeah.
Clayton?
For me, it was just time management. It's been time management. Because of like trying to divide time for homework, regular schoolwork, sports, and also work on top of that. It's been a little tough, and especially with the podcast and everything, having like set aside time for that as well.
Yeah.
The
I do want to say one thing about being behind a computer all day. Some ways that there are, and I know not everybody is able to do this, but if you are able to do this, if you have like a porch or something, maybe try to having a class out there, or like like I said, I know there are like in certain situations you can't do that, but if you do get like chances to do stuff like that, definitely do that because it helps out a lot.
I do want to say one thing about the whole getting up for school and how that could be difficult. A lot of the reasons why I've been hearing why it's difficult to get up for school is because simply just people don't find the online that motivating. And I think that's something that a lot of people didn't realize about school when we were in person before all this happened. Is I think a lot of people were excited that yay no school, and then people were like, oh my gosh, now I have nothing to do. I go absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, going nowhere part. Yeah. As for the nothing to do, I can promise you there's a lot. I do want to make this one little comment. Personally, I've found it that they're doing way too many projects in one week. Like, and this isn't just like me saying this. A lot of my classmates have been saying this too. Cause,
Well, I get why teachers doing that too,
yeah.
because they're
So
just
like,
trying to like
No,
give you
the
an assignment. Be like, hey, here's this. This is how you do it. All right, see you in a week.
okay, now
like,
yeah, there
like
the
you gotta keep in mind with if each kid has, look, just on average, if each kid has um one project for each class each week, that's 7 projects a week,
Yeah.
and you only get like 1 hour for each class. This is me averaging. Um, so you really only get like um, a, not including the weekend because not a lot of kids will do homework over the weekend. You really only get like 5 hours to do the project if they're not doing it at home, and this is me like just kind of averaging things out. So you get 5 hours of in-class time to ask the teacher stuff.
See, with
now
me, I'm
To
doing
work on.
school 7 days a week basically because I I of course have homework from having to go like straight from school like online to cross country practice after school.
Well, yeah,
At
it's
school.
even worse if you have like a busy schedule like that.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm doing school 7 days a week.
now
Actually, well, technically six because I have my meets on Saturdays.
now talking
Yeah.
about like the work and all that, I will say we don't we're not an AP. I used to, and I will say that even though the school year got shifted to like a month, it's for AP it does not affect the calendar. If you're so like literally everything is supposed to be done on certain dates.
Well, yeah, and
And
that
they
makes things even worse. Like it's even worse for them.
with regular with like the normal on level classes, they got options. They can cut they can only give you what you need to know versus with AP and all that, it's you have to know all this by this day
Yeah,
or that.
I'm just saying that they need to chill out on the projects. Like I get it why they do it. I'm just saying like because of how things are going, like time wise, it's just it's really wearing on the student. And this isn't like just coming from my perspective. This is like me hearing it from other classmates telling this to the teacher, and teachers saying that they have heard it from other classes.
All right, Clayton, do you want to go into our next question?
Yeah, I can. All right. So for the third question that we had on our survey, we asked, "Do you like Canvas?" The options were yes, 50-50, or no. 61% chose 50-50, 33% chose yes, and 5.6% chose no. Um, I'm actually kind of surprised that the littlest category is no, because I feel like a lot of people loved Google Classroom.
Yeah, and that's one of the things is I everybody that I have talked to says they'd prefer Google Classroom over Canvas. So I agree where I kind of find that a little surprising.
Yeah, I mean, Google Classroom was definitely good. I kind of like Canvas. And as you can see, there's a lot of 50-50. So that kind of goes into the no as well. Um,
I think
because there
I
are,
would. I feel like me personally, I would have liked it a whole lot longer. A lot better. I mean, if it wasn't, if it wasn't like, if it did a gradual change into using Canvas compared to an
well,
immediate change. If you guys get what I'm saying, a little bit.
I think they did it the way they did because it's easier on the teachers and it allows them to, um, it basically makes the process a lot easier than it would have been.
But the thing is, though, is I've asked my teachers about it, and they have told me, no, we don't necessarily like it either because it was just thrown at us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's the thing, is that it was just thrown at us.
Personally, I like the canvas, but that's just my personal thing.
Okay, so and now is when I wanted to bring up about testing and all that. Like math, I've taken a math test this past week. Everybody did not do that I know of didn't do that good on it because it is so picky if it asks us to type in our answer, literally if we put one space in there, it's wrong. It's so
Well,
picky and I
yeah.
it's just so
Um,
irritating to me.
And that's why the teachers have to go in there and edit it and say it was correct if you just added a space on accident.
well, and for example, my class, it's a little bit easier. Not a lot of people got it wrong, but because we've had like one of these online tests or whatever pretty much every week, and there's definitely been a lot of uh, like for example with me, I like finished a test, but it had said that I didn't do two questions, even though I said I got them right. So there's like instances of that, and um, there's a lot of bugs with the whole online, but that's kind of to be expected.
Alright, I'm gonna go into this next question because it pertains to me mostly. Do you think that the CAA, which is the tech school in our district, should they be allowed to follow different guidelines? Meaning, should they be open in red zone, which means online for high school, middle school, due to social distancing being possible there? Now, the majority of people answered, I don't know, or I don't go there, which is understandable. And then the other two were yes and no, and they're almost kind of split in the middle.
22% with no and 16% with yes. So yeah, almost split. Yeah.
That school is it. The reason why we asked this question is that that school is it's big. It's big in my opinion, and
No,
I could see it.
I mean,
But yeah, I get why some people said no and why some people said yes. It I've talked to other people and it says it really depends on what class you're taking there.
you know.
So
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, it really is more about what is the best and most, or I mean, what is the safest and most productive uh, way of doing it. But yeah.
Yeah, because with me, I'm taking med side there, and we could easily just distance ourselves.
and the problem is that those are hands-on classes, so it's like it's kind of hard
Yeah.
to not to do it at
Now,
home.
Yeah.
with med sci, what all entails with like, uh, is that kind of like with the do they teach you stuff like CPR or whatever, or is that just health?
We learn that in health. I don't know if they do CPR. If they do, I'm already certified because of my job. So I'll just be
Oh,
helping. I believe they might. Um, I think I recall Mr. Oliver. He used to teach med sci, and he's one of my teachers for exploring medical careers. And he
yeah.
said that we could possibly still do it because they did it when he was teaching there.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they keep everything like, you know, sanitized and everybody does follow the guidelines, because yeah, then yeah, I could see that stuff opening.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that next question, Christian.
yeah. I will do the next one. Uh, how did you feel about sports activities being allowed? So, 61% went with I'm concerned. 27.8, so almost 28 percent with I'm glad they allowed them, and 11% went with don't know. Um, I can see why there's a lot of people concerned. I mean, I can also see why a lot of people wanted them open. Um,
So I guess can I'll say something. It really kind of confuses me on, like, yes, I'm glad they allowed him because we're able to do like marching band and stuff like that now, but and Clayton can do cross country, but the on the other hand, it's like they basically literally said on the day they voted that because they opened it, there is currently no plan to get us back in the school like at this moment.
yeah.
Which I kind
See,
of
look.
don't agree with that, with them saying that, because I feel like education comes first.
Well, here's the thing. You gotta keep in mind there's a lot of pressure on them to keep a lot of the kids safe. They have to pick the safest option, and because if things go wrong, then it comes down on them because they're the ones that vote for it. So when it comes to something like that, and just speaking honestly here, uh, not being sure if we will actually follow the rules for like the guidelines and stuff. Because I'm sure like Clayton, you, Carver, are following the rules and everything, but you gotta admit there are kids out there that won't, and that's just that. But
In that case,
so
I feel like then it's also still more up to the teachers and coaches to enforce it. Like, yeah, of course,
well,
none of us wants to follow them, but I mean,
even then, there's only a certain extent that they can enforce it. I mean,
Well,
like
no, they can.
well, let's just use the okay football for example. There's a lot of physical contact, and it's gonna be hard. Basically, it's gonna be hard to do that whole social distancing thing, um, and just following the guidelines in that.
See with cross
Not
country, um,
what?
see with cross country, our coach, if you don't follow them, he won't allow you to come to practice.
Yeah, but I
yeah,
mean,
that's
like
the thing.
with a sport like I'm using football because the sport literally requires you to get up close and personal with the other team and pretty much face to face. Yeah, there's your helmet, but that's not. And I'm not sure because I haven't been to the games, but I'm pretty sure
They're
they're not wearing their masks under their
they're
helmet.
they're not, but the close contact thing is they're they're not like, it's not like a normal. It's if they're in close contact, it's they're either tackling each other or it's with one other person on the other team. It's they're all
Yeah,
spread out in
even
small groups from each other.
even if you're tackling the other person, there's still uh I mean, I've seen times when they'll be like holding on to each other for like a good, I don't know, 8 seconds, and they're like face to face right then and there, and that's enough time there. I don't know, I'm just trying to say that that's the reasoning behind it. That's why it comes down to they have to factor in all this, and they have to factor in how reliable this gym's going to be, and how much can the coaches or teachers enforce these rules, especially during the game happening. I don't know. I'm just trying to put some like from their perspective. Anyways, I'm not trying to go into a rant here. So yeah. Any other thoughts on that?
I don't. I guess Clayton, next question.
Alright, so the next question is, if you don't like Canvas, what would you rather use? The options are Google Classroom, Schoology, Other, or I like Canvas. 38.9% chose I like Canvas. 55% chose Google Classroom, and 5.6% chose Schoology.
I think what
Yeah.
a lot of people liked about Google Classroom is that it's more of its simplicity. Like it was more simple to use.
Well, it
While
was
Canvas
easier to
goes
find.
into it's way more complex.
Well, it was easier to find stuff on Google Classroom, but I definitely see why there's not as many people with Schoology. I mean, personally, I didn't like Schoology, but that's just my preference. But yeah, with the whole Google Classroom, they do make it simpler for this there.
Plus, with Canvas, it loads everything so slowly. Like a teacher will post an assignment and it won't be there until like 10 minutes later. Whereas a Google Classroom would be there in like a refresh. And Schoology, I didn't really like either. Like only
Now,
some of my teachers used it, and all the other teachers used Google Classroom.
That was pretty much it with that question. So our last question was, if you like Canvas, what's the thing you like most about it? Split directly in the middle, fit with 50%, is everything is there for school.
yeah, I will agree with that.
Yeah, that's my part where that's where I like it.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
I said
everything is on
from the previous question, only some teachers use Schoology and some use Google Classroom, but with Canvas, every teacher uses it.
Yeah, it does make yeah, it does make things a little bit better that everything's there on top of like when you log in with um Canvas, all your classes are there, whereas with Classroom, uh if you you need the code to get into each classroom.
And then
Um
the rest of the answers were it's similar to other classroom management, which I kind of want. I could see how it's similar to both Google Classroom and Schoology, but I want to know what it's more similar to, and then
um
easier to work with, or I don't like Canvas. Were the other two.
yeah. So uh the easier to work with, I don't like Canvas, and similar to other classroom management, they're pretty much equal there. I mean, they're a little bit different in percentages, but for the most part, averaged out, they're pretty
Yeah.
equal. And then definitely a whole lot more people like the everything is there, which I agree. That is something I do like about Canvas, that everything is on.
So that was all of our questions. So do you guys have anything else you guys want to bring up?
I don't have anything.
So I guess this is the end of it. Check out Christian's gaming channel.
Fire Games.
And yeah. So we are going to tune out. Bye.
See ya.